Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for watching this short Facebook Live today. So one of the parts of my health and nutrition diploma was senior health and caring for vulnerable groups in our society. So I thought it might be a good idea today for anyone who may be preparing meals for the elderly or someone in a vulnerable group. Also, this might be there might be some tips here for anyone who maybe has a weaker digestive system as well. So these are just some nutrition tips when you're preparing your foods, that not only anyone who is, elderly at the moment, but also for families as well. So any comments that you have, feel free to post, and also feel free to share if this information is not relevant for you, then maybe you might share it to someone who may be interested, or indeed you may be able to set it up for someone in the household that may be interested in watching this. So I suppose I have 6 points today that I just want to cover, and again I'll set up some links and some images, some recipes and things like that after this Facebook Live that you can continue to look at when you have your free time during the day. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is appetite. So generally when we get a little bit older, what happens is the appetite may start to wane a little bit, and this can be due to a variety of reasons. One of these may be medication. So if you are on some medication for an underlying condition at the moment, you may find that your appetite is not what it used to be, and you may find that your taste buds have been affected as well, which is a common enough thing. The most important thing in terms of the appetite is trying to introduce a variety of foods. So when we say a variety of foods, it means different tastes, different flavours, different ways to make the food more enjoyable, more tasty, that will stimulate the taste buds and in turn stimulate the appetite. So things that I would be encouraging would be small amounts of sea salt. I would be encouraging... hi Cara, how are you? So Cara, thanks for just joining. Where I'm just talking about kind of appetite and the elderly at the moment, and one of the things is that appetite can wane. So some of the ways I try to introduce flavours in the foods is with things like mustard. So this is kind of like a whole grain mustard, but again, if you can kind of work these into your soups, your stews, your casseroles, these are really, really good to kind of encourage or introduce a new taste. Another thing that I really benefit from, so as I was mentioning, sometimes people who are on a lot of medication, the appetite may just disappear, or that, being excited about eating may disappear. So mustard is the one thing. With the medication as well, what sometimes happens is you can become naturally deficient in nutrients. Particularly one of these is B12, which we need for a healthier nervous system and healthier function. So this is something that you can pick up in the supermarket, and it's called nutritional yeast. Particularly for anyone who may be on some digestive medication and other medication that may be hard on the stomach, B12 is something that is needed for the formation of red blood cells and to carry oxygen all around the body. And sometimes this can be destroyed or not absorbed into the body when you are on heavy medication. So B12, it's kind of like a nutty, kind of cheesy kind of flavour. It's generally yellow. This is just an empty one I have. But you can add this into your soups, you can add it into your stews, you can add it into your casseroles. I love doing it when I'm doing some mushrooms, if I'm having a Sunday morning breakfast. Or else what you can do is actually sprinkle this over popcorn as well. It's really nice, and it gives this kind of really nice nutty kind of flavour, nutty kind of cheesy flavour. It's really lovely. Again, nutritional yeast, sometimes when people hear the word yeast, they kind of just don't like the sound of that. I know that was the first response I got in my household, but it is specifically grown for the food industry, and specifically it's a vegan or vegetarian recommendation as well, particularly because the B12 is generally found in animal-based products. So for anyone who's a vegetarian or vegan, to substitute your B12, which you will be lacking in, nutritional yeast is another way to go about getting that B12 into your diet. So Our B vitamins are important more than ever because our B vitamins, I suppose, they help with our nervous system, and they help with our brain function. They help with carrying red blood cells around the body, which carries the oxygen around the body. So it's generally needed for a lot of things. So that will kind of bring me back to my second point, so I was talking about, which was the variety. So if you're increasingly relying on the same food, so if you're having the same breakfast or the same lunch or the same main meal, what you may find is the good gut bacteria is not given enough chance to multiply within your system. So at the moment we need all the good bacteria that we can get. So if you are preparing meals, try and present them in a different way, and try not to eat the same thing every day. So for instance, you may make up a shepherd's pie and you have that for lunch, and then you can freeze the other portions and have that every second or every third day. So again, it's just kind of trying out some new things, but trying to introduce some new things for breakfast, trying to introduce some new things for lunch, and trying to introduce some new things for dinner. And if you're preparing meals for the elderly, this is more important. And this brings me on to my next point, which is nutrient dense. I don't know if you can see that there. So what I mean by nutrient dense is what you're trying to do is, generally you'll find for people who are older, a little bit older, they're elderly, is they find their portion sizes reduces quite significantly. So if you are preparing a meal for the elderly, the most important thing is to make sure you get a high concentration of nutrients in that small portion of food. So you're looking at things like fish. When it comes to red meats can be quite difficult on a digestive system, particularly if anyone's on medication. And the other thing with when you are, a little bit older as well, you don't have what we call the same digestive fire. And we call that fire. So you don't have the same digestive enzymes as you would have for maybe a younger person. So I am conscious I'm trying to use the right terminology here, so forgive me, but I'm just trying to get my message across. So again, please feel free to add in your comments. So again, going back to the nutrient dense foods, one of the things I suppose I like to do at home, and even for us at the minute, if we have people in the household who have a weaker digestive system, so you're kind of going to try and focus on what we call wet meals. So in terms of breakfast, that might be things like your porridges. And remember, porridges don't necessarily have to be made with oats. Porridge can be made from buckwheat, porridge can be made from quinoa, and all these other types of grains as well, just to kind of switch it up and make it interesting. And again, what I'll do is after this, I'll just post some sample, maybe for a sample breakfast, lunch, snack and a tea, so you can see what I mean by that, and may give you some ideas and inspiration, because we've all got lots of time now to be cooking in the kitchen. When it comes to kind of main meals, so kind of lunches, dinners or suppers, I would be looking at things like shepherd's pie. I know my sister yesterday, she made a lovely chicken kind of casserole, simply just chicken in vegetables in a white sauce, mashed potatoes on top, and baked it off in the oven. Now you could again have that like your potatoes, your veg and your meat, but again it's just the presentation of it as well. So particularly when you are maybe making it for the household or making it for someone who's elderly, it's maybe the presentation, so they don't feel they're getting the same thing every day. It's nice and it's enticing and it's easy to digest on the system as well. And I'm just trying to think in my head, so pies, casseroles, stews, so they'd be kind of what we call the wet meals, so kind of trying to keep that in the back of your mind. And then the other side of it is how you're presenting it, so rather than just all on the plate, so your potato, veg and meat, that you're trying to do it in different ways. So maybe presenting it in a dish, doing a pie, so it's using the imagination a little bit as well. And generally if you're putting it in a bake kind of form, they get a lot more time to cook in the oven, a lot of kind of softening in the oven as well, which means it's more easy to chew, more easy to swallow. And again, for anyone who is elderly, you don't want to make it really difficult for them to chew and swallow. So you have a great intention to give them a lovely meal, but just to be careful about the way you put the ingredients in there. So maybe mince instead of meat pieces, maybe turkey mince or chicken mince. Fish is very, very easy to digest in the body, and it's super good for nutrients, particularly your omega-3s. which are essential fatty acids. That's needed for brain function, and it's also needed for all of the functions within our body then as well. Okay, where am I next? My fourth pointer, I don't know what point I'm on now, but anyways, my next point I had done is hydration. So again, depending on the age of the person, if you're caring for them or in your household, hydration is a big thing, and particularly at the moment, getting to the bathroom from the bathroom, and that might be an issue as well. And with the elderly in extreme, anyone kind of in their 80s in particular, hydration and dehydration is a big thing. So one of the things that we tend to do at home is we make a bone broth. So if we're having a roast chicken on a Sunday, what we generally tend to do is we generally tend to take all the meat off and keep the carcass, all the bones. We're popping it into a saucepan with some garlic, some onion, a carrot and some celery, and then some salt, pepper and any other herbs that you would like. And we are literally leaving that on the stove for about 24 hours just to literally simmer down. We'll add some water, and what we get is a nice broth. Again, I will link up with some images and posts of what I've done at home to kind of give some ideas. Bone broth is known as the golden elixir, and it is nearly, just as important as water, and it's a great way to get some intense nutrients into the system. So whether you're looking after someone who's elderly, whether you're someone who's ill at the moment, whether you're someone who's a weak digestive system, if you just don't have the appetite for food at the moment, this is a really good way to get all of the amino acids that you need, all of the electrolytes that you need, all of the magnesium that you need, all of the iron that you need. It's a great way to get all of the nutrients into your body in a cup. So literally a bone broth, when you make it, it'll keep for about 3 days in the fridge. Generally it's gone in our house. If we have a roast chicken on a Sunday, we probably make it on a Monday. We have it on a Tuesday. It might last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday if we get to that far. And again, it's just a small drink, but you are getting huge amounts of nutrients in there. So bone broth is a really good one for the elderly, but I recommend it for everyone, particularly if you're not feeling the best at the moment and if you are sick. It's a great way to get some nutrients into the body. So lastly, my last point is, if you've any questions at all, just pop them in the comments below. I have been getting some private messages the last couple of days, and there are some things that I'm working on at the moment. So literally send me your questions, send me your ideas if you find these kinds of tutorials are useful, and I will be coming back to you with some questions. And also remember, at the moment, if you're going and you're delivering food to the elderly, which us Irish are great for, serve it with a smile, serve it with a kind word, spend some time, have a little bit of a chat and brighten up that person's day. So I hope I brightened up yours day today, and I hope to be doing a lot more stuff now in the next few days as well, plus taking some time out, which I hope everyone is doing, and kind of getting used to this new routine and new way of life, and it's good and it's healthy. So I hope you've enjoyed this short Facebook Live, and thanks for watching, and I will share the video up so maybe you can watch it in your own time later on today, or when you have some quiet time for yourself. And if the content is not suitable or of what you're interested today, please do tag someone in it and share it to someone who may be interested, or try and set up for someone in the house. Again, it just may be something that they can watch in their day that's a little bit of distraction from all the other news that we're getting out there at the moment. So I'll chat to you online. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Cara. Thanks, Eddie. Thanks, Anna. And I will see you soon. Bye.